Do you think Ghanaian politicians can genuinely fight against Galamsey illegal mining when many of them are intricately tied to the practice? It's impossible. The harsh truth is that the fight against Galamsey is deeply compromised from within, and I want to reveal some of the secrets behind it. The reality is that no political party in Ghana can survive without political financiers, and almost 70% of these financiers are gold miners. Whether they are small-scale miners, large-scale miners, or even the illegal miners we know as Galamseyers, the methods they use to extract gold are largely the same and have the same devastating effect on the environment, particularly on our water bodies. To understand the depth of the problem, it's important to recognize that both legal and illegal mining operations follow similar procedures in terms of extraction. They all use heavy machinery, like excavators, and expose large tracts of land to access the mineral wealth beneath. In doing so, they destroy water bodies, forests, and entire ecosystems. The sad part is, the methods they employ for mining, whether legal or illegal, are contributing to the degradation of the environment in the same way. This is the part that many don't understand. The focus has been on illegal mining, Galamsey, but the larger issue is that mining in general is destroying our natural resources. Whether you are a licensed miner or a Galamseyer, the environmental damage is the same. Now here's where the situation becomes even more troubling. The military operations tasked with curbing illegal mining are part of the problem. These military teams, deployed to fight against Galamsey, have been compromised. Why? Because the miners, particularly the illegal ones, pay them bribes that are far more lucrative than their monthly salaries. When soldiers are sent on operations to arrest illegal miners, they often inform the miners in advance, allowing them to escape before the raid even begins. By the time the operation teams arrive at the mining sites, the miners have fled, and not a single person is left to arrest. It's a well-orchestrated dance of corruption, where the soldiers who are supposed to protect the environment end up becoming informants for the illegal miners. Some may blame the soldiers for being corrupt, but it's essential to dig deeper into why this is happening. Initially, these military personnel were working hard to protect the water bodies and arrest any illegal miner they encountered. But the miners, who are incredibly wealthy and fearless, found a way around this. When you're earning over $2 million in just 2 weeks, why would you be afraid of some soldiers? The miners took their battle to the political arena. They bribed top politicians, including ministers who oversee these military operations. The bribes were so substantial that the politicians were compelled to instruct the military to ease off on the arrests. If you have witnessed this firsthand, then you will understand the futility of attempting to stop Galamsey in Ghana. Once a miner has bribed the highest authorities, it becomes almost impossible to arrest them. Here's how it works. When an operation team manages to arrest miners, the miners immediately contact the top politicians they've bribed. These politicians, in turn, call the commander in charge of the operation and tell him to release the miners if he wants to keep his job. The commander, realizing that his career is at risk, has no choice but to comply. He apologizes to the miners for the inconvenience, releases them, and sometimes even instructs his soldiers to protect the miners from armed robbers. This is how corruption weakens the resolve of the operation teams. The commander's hands are tied, and he becomes like a wounded lion, unable to do his job effectively. Instead of protecting the water bodies, the military now acts as bodyguards for the miners. At this point, you might be asking, how did we get here? The answer lies in the relationship between politics and money in Ghana. Both the National Democratic Congress, NDC, and the New Patriotic Party, NPP, are heavily reliant on miners for their financial support. These miners fund political campaigns, buy cars for politicians, and finance various projects. In return, they are allowed to operate without interference. It's a symbiotic relationship. The politicians need the miners to stay in power, and the miners need the politicians to protect their businesses. It doesn't matter which party is in power, both sides are feeding from the same trough. This is why it is futile to talk about any government's efforts to fight against Galamsey. Both the NDC and the NPP are in bed with the miners, and any talk of fighting Galamsey is nothing more than political theatre meant to deceive the public. Here's a reality check. The president cannot fight against these miners, no matter how much he might want to, because they are too powerful. They hold the financial lifeblood of the political system in their hands. Any incoming president, regardless of their political affiliation, will face the same dilemma. The miners are untouchable. It's like a divine hierarchy. In Ghana, Galamsey is like God, the politicians are like Jesus, and the military operation teams are like Satan. They all work together in this corrupt system, each playing their part in ensuring that the mining continues unabated. When miners are arrested, it is never the big fish, those who bankroll entire political campaigns, that are caught. Instead, it is the small-time operators, the poor young boys with no money to pay bribes, who are arrested and jailed. These arrests are merely for show, designed to pacify the media and the public, while the real criminals continue to operate with impunity. In my next video, I will reveal how the NDC has set a trap for the NPP regarding the fight against Galamsey, especially as we are just days away from an election. The NPP is in a tight spot because they can't afford to lose the support of the miners, yet they also can't be seen as doing nothing about the Galamsey problem. It's a delicate balancing act, one that exposes the deep hypocrisy at the heart of our political system. But understand this, Galamsey cannot be stopped unless there is no more gold left in the ground. Even if gold were to be found beneath the Flagstaff House itself, they would tear down the building to extract it. Such is the power of gold in Ghana. I know what I'm talking about because I have conducted extensive investigations into this issue. I have spoken to top miners, politicians, and military personnel involved in the Galamsey operations. The sad truth is that no one in power cares about our rivers, lakes, or forests. They only care about gold, gold, and more gold, because that is what sustains their political power. Our environment is being destroyed, but as long as there is gold to be mined, nothing will change. The rivers and lakes of Ghana can be restored, but only when the gold is gone. Until then, we are stuck in this vicious cycle of environmental degradation and political corruption. In conclusion, I want to emphasize that the fight against Galamsey in Ghana is not a fight against illegal mining alone. It is a fight against a corrupt system that is built on the exploitation of our natural resources. The politicians, the military, and the miners are all part of this system, and none of them are willing to change it. The only way Galamsey will ever stop is if there is no gold left to mine. Until that day comes, we can only watch as our environment is destroyed, our rivers are polluted, and our future is sold for gold. Stay tuned for more shocking revelations about the connection between politics and Galamsey in Ghana. I have much more to tell you, and I will continue to expose the truth in my upcoming videos. Don't forget to subscribe to Ghana AI News for more eye-opening reports. Together, we can keep pushing for accountability and transparency in this corrupt system. Remember, the fight for our environment starts with awareness, and I'm here to give you the facts. Keep watching, stay informed, and let's demand better for Ghana.